Maybe it was even the way they worded how the job was going to be done. Rather than just being like a salesman, it was like, hey, help some people find a house, you know? Something simple got me to go to the website. And once I went to the website and started looking at the stories and, you know, the two brothers, Jason and Alberto, and how they were talking about the business, I thought more about it and thought maybe this is something I could do. This seems very rewarding. Getting a house is a really big deal and something you only do once or twice in a lifetime. So I could get a lot of enjoyment out of that. And so applied here too. I'm Tanner. I'm a housing consultant, and I help our custies find a mobile home that fits them perfectly. I'm from Yakima, Washington. That's the central part of Washington. Yakima's right in the middle. It's a desert, so it's dry and sunny most of the time and beautiful weather. So Yakima's in a valley, so you have hills on the outside. And so I actually lived right at the base of the hill, so I would just walk to the top of the hill, sit up there for 20 minutes and be like, all right, cool, I'm in a better mood now. Let's go back to the real world. I was in the gym business about 15 years. Went to school actually to be a police officer. I got out, I applied at a gym and started applying to different policing agencies as well. And the gym hired me up real quick and I moved up fairly quickly to a training director. I managed trainers for about 12 or 13 years. Actually, I do still do it here in the office. You saw I have the TRXs set up, and I've started writing up workouts on the window too to get everybody working out. I mean, it makes you feel better and perform better even just in general life and in your job as well. That's about probably the extent that I do of it now, but fitness is always gonna be a part of my life. It's fun. I like helping people. I like to make a difference in people's lives, and that's why I want to be a police officer. And then what I discovered when I was a trainer is I was changing people's lives there as well. I see this company as being a new company and a lot of room for growth, and I believe in a lot of the same things, which is great. You don't always get that with every company you work for, so I see myself learning the ins and outs of this, being just as good at it as Mauricio and maybe even Jason and Alberto, doing whatever I have to do to continue the growth of the company and obviously the growth as myself as well in the company. I like exploration and I like solitude. So usually when you go into the mountains, obviously I would have a plan when I went out there, but as you're walking, I mean, you got all day and you can look around and be like, oh, what's over there? And like one of my favorite hikes was Jade Lake. You guys need to look that up. Yeah, the most beautiful lake, but it is a rough hike. I mean, you got 16 and a half miles in, 6,500 feet of elevation gain from beautiful lakes to beautiful river to beautiful waterfall to beautiful mountain to beautiful glacier, and obviously the woods. And then I mean, it's so many different changes in scenery, and all of them were amazing. Once you get there, your mind's blown. There's something about it. I think us as humans and what the way we live now is so disconnected from the way that we were intended to be. So many distractions. Advertisements, cars, people, you're just constantly distracted. So when you take someone who is meant to be in nature and they go out there and experience it for the first time, I mean, it's mind-blowing. I've never had anyone go out there and be like, that was a waste of time. You know, like, they're just like, man, that was an incredible experience. And even kids, like I'll take my kids and their friends on little hikes, and I mean, it blows their mind. In Washington, usually there's a bunch of connections, so you come to a center point and you could either go to the right, you could go straight, you can go to the left, you can go back to the left. I mean, it's just so many options. You really have to be pretty well planned, and you can use a map, but that's pretty tough too. When you do get into the hiking community and you start paying attention to it, there is a lot of people that die, as terrible as it is, out on hikes. It's simple mistakes, and you can have even some very experienced hikers make mistakes and you're in some real trouble. And my kids and I always say, if you don't almost die when you're on a hike, it wasn't a real hike. It wasn't even worth it. Even a hike if you don't almost die. And there's the ones that it sucks when you're in the moment, you know, but afterwards they're the most fun to remember back on. Like every time I hang out with my kids, we're like, oh, remember when we did the 11-mile hike? 11-mile hike was the first time we ever ran out of water. And that was rough. Running out of water is a scary thing. We drank some pretty nasty water and had to make some decisions, which is also what I love about hiking too. We had, you know, like a half of a bottle left of water, and we had my son, who at the time was probably 9, and my daughter was like 4. We were 11 miles deep with no water, and 11 miles in the woods. I mean, you're talking like 5 more hours to get out of there. we got a long time, and it was pretty hot, and so we were thirsty, and so we made I made the decision like, hey, Justice, we're gonna save this water for your sister, and I was like, Debbie, don't drink until you have to. We're gonna save this as long as possible. And we knew we had crossed the stream on the way up because on the way up we joked about it. Like, man, that'd be crazy to have to drink this water. And I was like, remember that stream down there, son? We're gonna be drinking that, okay? But it was a scary situation. I walking down, I was like, man, I don't want to be in the news tomorrow. Like, this is stupid. That would be a terrible reason to be in the news.
Yeah.
Space depends on how long it's gonna take to get there. And if we can design a way that's like, hey, 30 minutes you can be there, sure, I'll go check it out. It's no problem. But if you're saying, hey, Tanner's gonna take a year to get there and back, probably not gonna be up my alley. There's one in I think it's in Norway, something rock, and it's basically this huge, like, football size flat top of a rock that has like a, what's like 8,000 foot drop, and it just goes straight down. It's insane. But all the Norway and all those areas, those look pretty sweet, and I would love to travel there. Probably won't ever do it because it takes too long.